And we are live. Somehow, some way, we are doing this. Okay. So this is a trip for all of us. We were just trying to figure this all out. So thank you for joining us. If you're on the side watching us on the YouTube, Tyler, let's just do what we do and cross our fingers this doesn't bust.
This is pretty rad, though. I mean, having that intro, it made me feel like I was on the DNVR pod.
Right?
Very legit, very official. So this is us making a statement. We are on the rocket ship right now, on the way to the moon.
Vroom, vroom. Yeah, we needed to do something. So we'll get a. No, we won't. I was going to say intro movie or something, but there's a solid chance that doesn't happen for a hot minute. But we are here. We're doing this live. And we have a lot to talk about. So let's start with the big day that Coco Montes had yesterday. Friend of the pod, soon to be family pod, I'm sure. But have you ever experienced such a debut as Coco Montes?
I tweeted it out from the BSB Twitter. Like, you can't script a better first. I mean, there's a way that the first career home run, it could be like in the playoffs or something and be a walk off, whatever. But just by average expectations, that is as good as it gets. You hit a walk off, or not a walk off, confusing Nolan stuff. But the game tying 2-run jack plus a single, like that's chilling. It really was just straight chills. His mom said that when he just got his first hit. We didn't get to hear from his mom after the home run. I wish we did. But Spilly was interviewing her. She was like, it was straight chills. And like after the home run, it was straight chills over here too.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I was stoked when he got his first hit. Like, dude, man, just hit a nice little pop over the second baseman. I was like, all right, cool. And then he decides to just one up it with the dong in the eighth. It was just insane stuff.
Yeah, I was not expecting a homer from him. Like,
No.
he's got pop. Like he's not like a slugger. He has pop, but like to hit his first career home run in a really clutch spot, like
Yeah.
that was just I was so shocked.
Yeah, and I think I think it was Bud Black described it. He just doesn't vibrate, which I thought was a kind of a cool, interesting way to say that.
Put it. Yeah.
Like, yeah, dude, man was calm when he talked to us, and he's just seems to be calm and collective every time he's out there on the field. Like, you saw that a lot in Albuquerque. So cool, calm, and collected. Like, even when he crashed into Britton Doyle, which made me kind of shudder a little bit seeing it. It's like, oh no, not what you want. And he just kind of got up, gave a thumbs up, was checking on Doyle. It was just cool, calm, and collected all the way through. But Tyler, I have some information for you. Thanks to Greg Harvey between the Numbs here, player in MLB history to record multiple hits, multiple RBIs, and a game-tying breaking home run in the eighth or later in their ML debut. The list has 6 names on it.
Oh my gosh!
Can you name 2 of them?
I mean, well, actually, I'm thinking because I saw this on Rockies.
And if you, oh wait, 1 second. So this might be something we try. And if you are listening, go ahead and put it in on the chat. Drop it in the chat. Let's try something here, huh?
But I'm gonna toss out because I saw Rockies Roundup post it that I think Nolan Arenado did the same thing, like when he debuted. Or no, it wasn't his
exact.
Debut. Never mind. So never mind. I got
debut.
Nothing. That is so. Like, it would have to be like one of your, a guy on your team to remember that.
Yeah.
So let's hear some of these.
So one is early. So Coco Montes 2023, obviously. Cabrian Hayes 2020. He did it when he debuted. Yeah. Sorry, Skylar. Oh wait, let me see. This is us trying it. Thank you for bearing with us. Skylar says story. Nope. Sorry, brother.
I guess he didn't. Wait. So the what we're doing is it was like a game tying home run or like just game breaking.
Game tying / breaking home run.
Okay, so yeah, because I remember the story ones. I think he gave him the lead and then had another one with the lead in his debut.
Yeah,
that was a good thought though.
Yeah, very specific. No other Rockies on here. I don't even know. I know one name. Oh, let's try something again. Nope.
Oh, nice.
Sharing the wrong one. Let's get that out of here. Coors Field Effect and Skylar. They're good. Let's try this. Let's try this again. So here's the question. So players in ML history to record multiple hits. Here's your list: Coco Montes, Brian Hayes, Kosuke Fukudome, Josh Bard, Mark Quinn, and Kent Herbeck.
Okay.
1981. So just something I thought that was pretty interesting. Name in the record books, one of 8 people in all of MLB history. That's pretty sick. So huge congrats to Coco Montes on that. Jason Jennings, get out of here. So huge congrats to Coco Montes on his debut. I thought that was pretty cool. And then we're here. Let's talk about it. Nolan Jones. Is he the new Nolan? Like, he is Nolan, right? He is the
Yeah, I mean,
Rockies Nolan.
he is Nolan on the Rockies. I was surprised because a lot of people were actually dropping, in like replies to the Rockies Twitter. They're like best Nolan in Rockies history, and like people weren't like getting mad about that, and I was shocked because people get pissed off about anything Nolan related.
Yes.
But Nolan is a guy, and it's like one of those fun, prideful moments because I was in Albuquerque, like I don't even like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I saw him play, and yeah, I learned a lot about him. I didn't realize that his plate discipline is like top notch, and we've seen that
Yeah.
every game in Major League Baseball so far. He's gonna take like 2 or 3 pitches every at bat. Like anything borderline, he's pretty much taking it, and it's kind of ridiculous. Like his vision is really really good. He recognizes pitches. And I mean, the whiff rate we've seen him, swing and miss a little. I think he's running a 28% whiff rate, which isn't bad. Um, but it just seems like anytime he's really swinging, like he's on something. Like
Mhm.
he sees a pitch and he has a very like measured, intentional swing. And we've seen that pay off a lot so far. I mean, what is it like 4 home runs already, 3 or 4 home runs already?
Yeah.
A lot of hits. He started to work some walks. Like we're seeing a full offensive profile like just take shape really fast. And it's not the kind of thing you see some guys debut and they lace out like 8 hits and you're like, oh, nice. But like, is he going to be able to sustain that? When you see what a guy like Nolan Jones is doing, the walks, working really good counts,
Still working
just
it.
getting into his approach, that's consistent. That's going to sustain itself at least to some level. It maybe not 1100 OPS, but there's something that's going to stick.
Yeah. And this is what they brought him here for. Like, Juan Brito, good future prospect, probably going to be an all-star. I'm on record multiple times to say that. But Nolan Jones was brought here just for this, and the Rockies are finally letting him do his thing. He's one of only 8 players this year that have a home run of at least 470 feet. Nolan Jones is the only one with 2 of them. 94th
Yeah.
percent max exit velocity. All the tools, man. All the tools.
Well, I think something that hasn't never really got talked about enough when he was in the minors is like this is a plus athlete. Like
Yeah.
his sprint speed is like 71st percentile. He's already stolen a handful of bags. Like I don't think he's gonna be, 25, 30 stolen base guy, but he's gonna snag like double digit stolen bases for the next, the foreseeable future, just overall. And that plays out in the outfield. And that's why I've been banging the drum. Like he needs to be the everyday right or left fielder because that arm is insane. The arm is actually like 80 grade. Like you don't get to throw 80 grade around very often, but it's literally last year he played like 20 games for Cleveland and he had the strongest arm, 100th percentile. That's 80 grade. Like so he's got the 80 grade arm. I think he could be like at least an above average outfielder. And the speed is going to play on the base paths. Like he's a 5-tool guy, and I don't think that he got that kind of hype
Yeah.
when he was traded, or really at any point as a minor leaguer.
Yeah. No, he was supposed to be the next guy in Cleveland and kind of fizzled out. That change of scenery seems to be
Yeah,
working. Like everything you just said, all those tools are there. He is a 5-tool player. He is major league ready for whatever reason. Didn't work out in Cleveland, and so far so good at Colorado. And I'm going on record right now. Won the trade. I've been on the Nolan Jones trades since the beginning. I am saying he is definitely we won that trade.
I mean, like as of right now, I mean, Brito's not going to be up for. I don't think he'll debut this year. He's on their 40 man. I don't think he'll debut. He just reached Double A.
Yeah.
Like Nolan Jones is going to give a year of what now looks like solid production before Juan Brito even gets to the big leagues. And I love Juan Brito. He was one of my favorite prospects. I don't think he's going to be like a double digit, like 15 plus homer guy. Like I think he'll
No.
be one of those that settles into like 10 homers, good on base percentage, he had a ton of errors when he was in Fresno, ton of errors at second base. I don't know if he's a bad defender, but like he's definitely not going to be a great one unless there's a ton of work that gets put in. So Nolan Jones gives you a really high floor, and frankly, he has a silver slugger type of ceiling.
Yeah.
Like if he could sustain what he's doing right now over like an extended period of time, like he's going to be one of the best players the Rockies have had since Nolan and Story. Like on the offensive side, he will be one of the best players they've had in a few years.
Yeah, and it's Rockies need it, right? Rockies need it. Skylar's asking the question: Gold Glove caliber right field.
I mean, I could see it. Like the range is really solid. I think the instincts are coming along because he came up as a third baseman mostly. But that aren't like he's gonna rack up so many assists. Like yesterday, that throw Tatis on the sac fly, that's Fernando Tatis running from third to the plate. That he's one of the fastest runners in baseball. The throw basically beat him, and it was from deep left field. Like that was ridiculous. So he'll rack up assists. I think he'll be stable, ranging around and stuff. I would not rule out like Gold Glove candidacy.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a possibility. There's no reason it won't be.
Yeah.
All right, this is a Road to Blake Street Banter. Anything else for the Major League cause?
I mean,
we covered it, right?
I just good to see like Tovar's been a dude, and we can talk about that more at another time. It's nothing that it's really new at this point. It's been since early May, he's been an above average offensive player, and I think he's found so much more confidence defensively too.
Right. Yeah. That being willing to work through his struggles has helped him a ton. And Buddy giving him that leash, I think, has been huge and been paying dividends. And I think we'll see that with Doyle, and we're seeing that with Jones right now. I think that's huge for these kids. They have to be able to work through these things.
I'm shocked that you bring it up, like Tovar had just a terrible April. I mean, defensively he was stable, but offensively it was like you're not getting anything from this kid. Like I think he needs to go to AAA. They stuck strong, and now like he looks like a franchise player. Brenton Doyle, he had a lot of moments early on. It's been a little cooler on the offensive side, but like just keep giving him shots because he's still going to be a valuable player because of that defense and speed. So
yeah,
I'm just shocked. Buddy Black is playing a bunch of kids, like so weird. Like Mike Moustakas is a bench player. How does that work? Like you would think Mike Moustakas would be playing every day with CJ Crone and Charlie Blackmon on the aisle. Like
we would have put money on that. Yeah, we would definitely would have put money on that. Yeah, just insane. So let's head down to the minors. Let's stop in Spokane first. Yeah, let's start in Spokane. Let's stop in Spokane.
Not best for last.
No, that's when you're putting up these kind of numbers. Yanquiel Fernandez has earned Player of the Week for High A Northwest League. Real quick, 393 with 3 home runs, 13 RBIs, and 25 total bases. Going to give you more of these stats. Those 3 home runs, he had 3 doubles in the same time. What I was kind of surprised about, in those 31 plate appearances, only 6 strikeouts here. I thought was pretty cool. Just continues to dominate. Look at his 28 day, 367, 412, 753. His OPS is still 1.1, 10 homers, 36 RBIs. He already has 64 RBIs on the year. And him and Beck are just going back and forth in homers, 15 doubles, 16 home runs. So this is where I want to talk about. We've talked about it last time. Spokane Indians, they have a ton of talent on there. When do we start seeing the move? We talked a little bit about it last time. I have this theory. I want you to tell me if I'm right or wrong. We are 2 weeks away from the first half of the minor league season being over. And as we know, the first half winner of the minor leagues makes the playoff for that league, right? I'm wondering if the Spokane Indians and all the front office is not doing any promotions because of the want to win, what it means to win together. And so we're going to keep these guys together for 2 weeks, and then we'll ship them up at the end of June.
Yeah, right, I say, like, I'm trying to position myself with this camera. Nail that thing into the wall. Like, I think that it really is a keep them here, earn the playoff spot, keep as many of them together as possible. But, like, those 4 guys, Beck, Fernandez, Thompson, and Amador. Like Thompson's in weird territory right now because he just can't stop getting hurt or whatever. But
Right.
Beck, Fernandez, and Amador are all playing like ridiculous and really need to get challenged more. Like I'm glad they built their confidence, but AA is such an important challenge, and there's really no point in waiting on it. Like we've seen both Zach Veen and Drew Romo now be just like completely stopped. Their momentum has been halted by AA. And I would wager one of those three, Beck, Thompson, Fernandez, or not Thompson, Amador, like one of those three that goes up, I bet somebody's going to kind of hit those same struggles. I don't think it'll be Amador because he's just like a pro hitter.
Yeah.
But Beck and Fernandez, I could see one or both kind of having some struggles. Just it's a tough assignment. I think it'd be better to see that this year, and then give them a month or two, and then they come back next year, start at AA, and just hit the ground running. Or ideally, that's what happens. And I think that the Coors Field effect, saying they should stay together, that is very valid. I do like the idea. You keep these guys together because this is now the new wave. Those 4 hitters, you kind of have Benny Montgomery in there too. So that 5, it's kind of that next wave. And there should be some nerve starting to set in around Zach Veen and Drew Romo. Like they're still young, there's still plenty of time. But if those guys were not to pan out, you need this next wave to really like kick. And I think keeping them together is good for confidence, chemistry, all that. Maybe not the most important things for baseball, but like it does have value. What these guys developing.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, what's that? Is that me? Is that you?
I think it's lightning and thunder because Denver has been raining for like 3 weeks straight.
Okay, got some weather happening. So I agree. They need to be put together, but Coors effect is over here. Don't rush your guys. I'm going to disagree. I believe you have to put them in through the ringer. Like we're seeing the struggle right now with Roma. He struggled at the end of high A Spokane. He had a week. Let's just get there. Drew Romo had his week and he's getting hot. Saw him hit a very clean home run last night. For the Goats, he has a 1.1 OPS this week. Dong yesterday, 2 doubles, 3 home runs altogether. No, that doesn't seem right. 0 walks and 5 strikeouts. So he found his groove. It seems to be this week. Let's see how that continues. We saw this from Veen about a month ago, and then he kind of came back down to earth. I just think this kind of confidence being instilled from Drew Romo is super important. And he's 20 years old, 21 years old. Again, I've said this many times. 21 years old, never have experienced struggle. He's never had to do this. Braxton Fulford did this as an 18-year-old for Texas Tech down in the CWS. Drew Romo wasn't doing this at 18. He's doing it now. So he's a little bit behind in that kind of development. What does it mean to work through struggles? What does it mean to actually start playing well? And I think we're starting to see that. He's only played, 2 months in AA, so we'll see what happens. But you have to believe some of that struggles at the end of last year to what it is now, where it's going. So these kids, so when you're saying don't rush your guys, I think there are certain people, certain kids that need to be rushed, and it's completely okay. I think Yanquiel Fernandez might be one of those. I also think you have these college bats like Jordan Beck and Sterling Thompson. They should not be wasting their time in low A ever. They should have been put up to high A at the end of last year to see what they have, and then either repeat high A or go to AA. Especially with all the offensive struggles that are in Hartford right now, why aren't we pushing up a Sterling Thompson, Jordan Beck, a Yanquiel Fernandez? Because the Yard Goats need some off defensive outfield help out there. So like there's that kind of sense. Like college bats aren't the same. Like a Jordan Beck 22-year-old bat is not the same as Benny Montgomery at 19 years old, 20 years old. But yet they're in the same lineup and having the same trajectory. I don't believe that should be the case. And again, I have a podcast. I'm not a scout. Like that doesn't mean I know what I'm talking about. I'm fully on board with that sense, that thought as I look at these prospects going forward.
Well, yeah, I think the timeline for the college guys has to be like
you have to
a
push
bit different. I mean, and you look at Amador and Yanquiel Fernandez, and we don't quite know their baseball history as much, like what they what their high school equivalent was. But we do know that they turned 18, 19, and were already playing pros and doing a very good job. So those guys in their own right too are entitled to a little bit of a fast track.
Right.
Because I think the biggest factor with that is age. Like age relative to your competition is such a huge factor in determining like whether or not you are that guy or like you're just a guy who's doing what he should be. Like if you're playing well above expectation for your age, like Amador right now, barely 20 years old, like he's playing way above expectation for his age. I think at that point he's one of those like prodigious type of talents that you could see him get pushed as well. But a guy like Benny Montgomery, clearly, he's not someone meant to be rushed because at no point in his career so far has he like prodigiously dealt with his competition. It's been like he's doing okay. So Benny's the kind of guy I think you've got to go year by year. And then you look at, the college guys and then like an Adael Amador type. Those guys, I think you got to read their production. Because at the end of the day, they don't want to be in the minors. Like you got high school kids who they're like when they're in high school, they're like, I should go to college to really develop, but like I want to be an MLB player as fast as possible. Not even just I want to go to the pros. It's like, what is the way I can get to Major League Baseball the fastest?
Yeah.
And so I think someone like Amador is like, where's my ticket? Give me my plane ticket.
And it's so true. That's the goal for all these guys, obviously. So what do they need to do to fast track it? I think, again, going back to adding on to kind of what you're saying, like they know what they want their goal, but what are you really learning if you're just absolutely crushing the competition like Yanquiel is right now? You're not learning what you need to do to adjust and go back and forth. I mean, Ryan Mack, he's been on record talking to all of his hitting coaches, and he made some adjustments as a major leaguer, and he's now absolutely raking in this very prolonged hot streak, and hopefully it doesn't end in the way Ryan Mack's streaks do. But the point is, he's still working on it because he was failing. You don't know what you need to work on until you fail. And like Yanquiel Fernandez has just crushed Fresno. He's crushing Spokane. Time to move him up. Jordan Beck obviously knows what he's doing right now. Move him up. However, they're going to wait 2 weeks, and I think we'll see an onslaught of promotions in 2 weeks.
I think I could see Fernandez be the one that doesn't really get pushed up. Thompson is just he kind of not played himself. He's not going to get pushed because of the injuries stuff. But I think Beck and Amador both are going to be in AA in 2 or 3 weeks.
Dude, I'm going to be so mad if Yanquiel stays back.
Well, because you think about, even though it's more of a logistical thing, they started him in Fresno. Like his first, 2 games or something was in Fresno. Like that was more to balance the rosters out. And then they're like, all right, what are we doing? But I think given his age and the fact that he's not quite Adael Amador, he might stick around for a little bit.
Yeah, it's the whole age thing too. But I mean, we saw it with Ezekiel Tovar. They pushed him up quite a bit too. The other player of the week, which I'm very interested in this cat, Jamari Baylor came over in the Phillies in a trade. I think we just gave up cash for him. We needed to, I believe, fill in, but he was drafted by the Phillies in the 3rd round in 2019. He's been at the ACL for a few weeks since he got traded. And this is his first week as a Colorado Rocky / Fresno Grizzly. And dude, man, did his thing. There we go. Look at the 7-day here. 571 batting average to 1,286 slugging. Nobody else on the Fresno Grizzlies team went more than double-digit RBIs. He's the only one that had 12. I think the next closest was 5 or 6. 3 stolen bases, 3 home runs, 1 double, 8 hits. And if you look at his baseball reference page, he was at A+ for the Phillies affiliates. That's kind of a fun word. Played a lot of first base. He's looking at second infield, middle infield as he plays for Fresno. Again, going back to this age, he's been a pro for 3 years. He's 23 years old. Why do we have this add Ryan Ritter? Whenever I say Jamari Baylor, add Ryan Ritter to the conversation. It's going back to that age. However, it is pretty cool that you're going ham like this for your first week as a Rocky in a new system. It's pretty cool. It's got to feel good for Jamari.
Yeah, and I mean he's legit. Like he's a former third round pick. I think the tools have always been really loud with him. Like, between the speed and the power, I think that this is a really just explosive player. And there were some struggles. Like he hit high A a little bit. He played 10 games in high A and just like really struggled there. Hasn't been dominant in low A either. Like this is really his first go around, just like really hitting in low A. And it's a real small sample, but like all it takes, is a little bit of a push, and the ball can really get rolling. That momentum can carry you.
Yeah.
And he's at that age now. He's 22, so you would hope, being in low A, you're about the same age as most of the guys there. Like you're not, the young buck, but like you are still a young enough guy that if you keep playing like this, like you can really get that pure talent to show up in the game like a lot.
Yes, exactly. So just a name to watch out. I'm very curious where that talent comes through. Third round pick, it's a pretty big deal. So seeing what the Rockies can get out of Jamari Baylor here. Also, we're pretty sure, just because nepotism runs deep through the Rockies, that he is somehow related to Don Baylor. No idea how. Totally making that up, but
Haven't
nepotism.
confirmed yet.
But nepotism is true through the Rockies. So Jamari Baylor is definitely related to Don Baylor some way or somehow. Speaking of, hey, I'm here, look at me type noise. Huge congrats to Yanquiel and Jamari. But Jorge Alfaro, the Colorado Rockies AAA catcher of the future, is here. The signing was under the radar. You saw it across all the Twitter sphere. Like, yo, the Rockies should go after Alfaro, or the whole Rocky thing that people do. And like Alfaro would be perfect for the Rockies. This is what the Rockies are going to do. It's kind of what we all wanted them to do with Gary Sanchez in the offseason. And they brought in Jorge Alfaro, who in his first at bat, I think it was first at bat, definitely first game,
So
dude, man, went yammo. It's like, all right, I don't want to be here. Please put me up in the major leagues. I'm not sure why you put up Servin instead of me, but on the same day that I signed, yo, I'm here. Look at me. And then he had a nice RBI single or double last night too. So the dude is just a professional hitter. He is in the system. Really curious what this means for the Rockies. You are on record saying that Wins is here to stay. He's not, doesn't seem like Wins is going anywhere, especially as a backup. I think we kind of know who and what Brian Servin is. He's never going to be the number one. He can be a serviceable number two. However, right now the Rockies have two number twos with Wins and Servin. Is Alfaro, as Diaz is out, is there any way we see Alfaro soon in purple?
I think that Wins. I'm definitely a guy who thinks he's gonna be there for a little while. He's a smart player. He's been with analytical clubs. He's already had an influence on the team in that regard. He's really tried to be like, you guys don't do this. Like, he was with the Giants for years, then with the Dodgers this year. Like, he has a completely different view on the pitching process than like the Rockies. And so I think that they've been like, damn, this guy can actually help progress our team from behind the scenes. And he's a solid defender. He might play himself out, with the bat. If he doesn't hit a little bit, like Wins is definitely not secure. I think Alfaro comes in and kind of puts more pressure on Servin. Like Servin is not a young guy. Servin is almost 30, I'm pretty sure. Alfaro is 30 also, but Alfaro has a huge history of production in the big leagues. He's got 47 homers, 5.3 career Fangraphs WAR. The strikeouts are the reason he's a minor league signing in AAA. Like he has struck out a ton, but there's a history of good defense, not great, but good defense, and the power is huge. Also, though, played a lot of like left field and stuff for the Padres last year. Like they threw him around a little bit because he does have a really big arm. He is a cannon of an arm. So he got thrown around in the outfield a bit last season, as well as in Miami. I'm pretty sure that they were starting to mess around with that. So he's depth in the outfield, first base, but also I think he's a real threat to Brian Servin right now as that backup third catcher kind of guy.
Yeah. Do you think Brian Servin gets DFA'd?
I think it'd be fair that I think an organization of fairness when it comes to their MLB guys. Like
Yeah.
we've never seen them just like cut bait with someone really fast. Like you know, like Taylor. Think about like Taylor Motter. He came up for like a week and then was gone. That's because he was just a guy Wynton Bernard's the same deal. Like they just brought him in, got the necessary playing time, and we're like, okay. But Brian Servin's a guy they've had for 6 years. He made it to the big leagues. They're not just going to disregard him. And so I think he might get another shot at some point. It's tough to say they're going to DFA him, but there's a little bit of a roster crunch the Rockies are facing. They've had to use the 60-day IL quite a bit. And we know that one of the second basemen is probably not long for the organization either. So I could see the Rockies holding 4 catchers on the 40-man. That's not unheard of to do, especially when you have a Jorge Alfaro with experience in the outfield. I don't think Servin's quite on his way out yet, even though that would logistically probably be the smartest move.
Yeah, again, nepotism, and they are very loyal. That's not nepotism, but the loyalty, the nepotism piece kind of go hand in hand. So what you were saying about Servin, I think I'm agreeing with. And Alfaro just brings extra elements to it, especially with the trade deadline coming up. Who knows? I mean, not that Servin gets traded. Not sure what he provides another team, but Mike Moustakas might be pushed somewhere. Hidden Herald has been playing a lot. Again, they don't have a lot of value, but when I say trade season, that also becomes DFA season. And so Alfaro kind of brings a little bit more than what a Mike Moustakas does with that third catcher idea. So it's going to be interesting what they do with Servin. And Servin kind of came out of nowhere. The Willie Mack injury definitely hurts that too. Like, does Servin get the playing time if Willie Mack isn't as injured as much coming into the season? I think that there's something to that too. But Jorge Alfaro, we'll definitely see him. Do we see him before the end of June in purple?
I mean, the thing is with him, but like with Alfaro, he totally raked with Boston AAA earlier in the season, like 119 WRC plus. I'm not completely raked, but he hit really well and said, "I want out of here," because he's looking for MLB playing time. So I have a hard time believing he agreed to a minor league contract with the Rockies if they didn't have a plan to bring him up.
Right. Yeah.
It's just before the signing, I was like, I don't know if I would see a spot for him to come up so soon. Because again, I really think that they are going to invest time into Austin Wynns more than they want Austin Wynns to invest time into them. Like he's an experienced catcher. He's been with some really forward-thinking organizations. All indications are that they want him to stick around, almost as like another pitching coach. Sort of is the move. So I'm not sure I see the spot for Alfaro, but given why he's here and how he got here, he wants MLB playing time like really bad and right now.
So yes or no by June 30th? Yes or no?
It depends. No, I'm gonna say yes because otherwise I think he's gone. And I don't think they would have signed him. So.
Right. I'm gonna back you up on that. I agree. Definitely agree. All right, let's pick our 2 top performers across the minors this week. I think I already talked about mine, so I'll go first, and then I'll let you do yours, and then I'll figure out what my pitcher is while we sit here. Yanquiel Fernandez is my guy. He's definitely somebody I'm watching closely. He's a massive dude, and just the way his home run, I think on Thursday or Friday, there's a low inside off speed, like ankle high off speed, and Dude Man just crushed it, cargo-esque, with ease. It didn't even look like he swung his bat very hard. Like bat speed might have been 30, definitely wasn't. But it was just how easy he swung that bat and how far it popped off and just went over the fence was absolutely incredible. I haven't seen that from a lot of people. Like I'm enthralled by Zach Veen's bat speed. Hunter Goodman's power as he generates with his giant closed stance to his giant step is absolutely insane. But Yanquiel Fernandez is just clean with it. And the way that ball pops off the bat is just insane. So just huge performance. Obviously, he earned that $50 Lululemon gift card as player of the week with 3 doubles, 3 homers, 1 triple, 13 RBIs. And I expected the OPS to be big higher, but 893 is nothing to slouch about. So Yanquiel Fernandez is my player of the week, my hitter of the week this past week.
Well, yeah, on that OPS train, I like just looking at that 6 extra base hits. I'm like, how does he have an 893 OPS? Like you would think it's over 1,000,
Exactly.
but must not. I want to add 11 hits. I don't. Maybe there's got to be something wrong there. There just has to be. I don't know. but my hitter of the week, Ryan Ritter, a really nice. I want to say bounce back because he kind of had a little bit of a slowness for a moment, but then he came back this week and hit 348, 2 homers, a triple. He really worked 207 WRC plus this week. So he's raking. And this brings us back to the discussion about pushing guys. Ryan Ritter is someone that, like, it's a waste of his time to be in the low A. Like those, when he's facing those pitchers, they're learning how to like command like 3 or 4 pitches. They're not learning how to sequence and really like scout the opponents that much. Like it is a lot more about like, I got to command 4 pitches. And you begin to do the sequencing stuff. Being a hitter in low A, like some guys are gonna put up really crooked numbers because like they're ahead of the game. And he played 3 years at an SEC school, and college. Like he is ready for at least high. I mean, not at least high. He's got to go to high A and spend a lot of time there because he's a little bit raw as a hitter still. The fact that he's just crushed shows that like a talented player, maybe not the most technically refined, can really thrive in something like low A. He needs to get up. I think that'll be timed with Amador. Amador goes up and Ritter goes up to follow. Right. And maybe we see like Dion Jorge from the ACL take Ritter's spot in Fresno. That is probably going to be sort of the move there. And I really hope it is because all 3 of those guys should be playing a level ahead.
Yes, they should be. It's just, what do you do? Because Julio Carreras is still up in Hartford, but does he get moved up? Yeah, there's a logjam up the middle and at the corners. It's a good problem to have. Maybe some of them get moved at the trade deadline. Rockies don't really move minor league pieces at the deadline, but it might be a thing. I'm going with pitcher of the week is Gabriel Hughes. Just it's hard not to. I want to go Blake Adams. Dude, man, with 7 innings, 6 hits, 6 strikeouts, 1 home run. His first home run as a major league. Is that right? What Luke said?
Yeah, first pro home run he's allowed, which is pretty crazy. It's been like 60 innings almost.
And the Cali League is insane. So that huge props to Blake Adams, but Gabriel Hughes having the world on his shoulders. He is the next top dog starting pitcher for the Rockies. And going to Akron last week and getting that first start in Hartford, which is pretty huge. I should have had his numbers ready to go, but I don't.
I think off the top, I know he went 5, gave up 3, also had 5 Ks. There were a lot of hits, 3 walks. Yeah, I think he had 5 Ks. But like, given that it's his first start in AA, we hammer that home so much about how hard that transition is, hitter or pitcher. So
yeah,
for him to come up and like he did solid. It wasn't great, but it was very solid. And when you think about the context, like I think that makes it a very good start.
Yeah, 52 strikes out of 90 pitches. So definitely not pushing that 100 mark. Usually pitchers are stopping around 90 through 93 for the most in high A. So getting through 5 in the debut, it's huge. And I don't know if it's necessarily the idea that he was dominant this week. It's more of the idea like, all right, he's everything that we just talked about, pushing him up, not slowing him down. And he executed well that first start. And just the whole future, the whole idea of that he is here and Gabriel Hughes is everything that we thought he was going to be. When we drafted him first round last year, I think that's more of where my hype is coming with Gabriel Hughes when I'm saying this. It's cool to see that call up and then that call up actually doing work as he gets going. Real quick, Skylar Strobel, Eddie Diaz back to high A. I got a feel for our dog, Eddie.
Dude, Eddie's been – I remember, I think it was like 2018 maybe. Like, Eddie was one of the – like, so many people were talking about Speedy Leg Boy was what they called him on Twitter. Eddie Diaz.
Yeah.
And that was 2018. So much hype. And, I mean, I don't think he's ever hit above low A. I'm pretty sure he's never hit above low A. No. He might not have even really hit in low A. At this point, I think he is like he's winding down his like protected time with Colorado. Like he will be a minor league free agent, if not after this season, after next. He's not getting added to the 40-man. I think he's just kind of like there. He provides defense, speed. So that's actually a pretty good idea. And even if they don't send him back, like he just becomes like a backup middle infielder. So that's unfortunate. His career path, like he never gets talked about on this podcast because he doesn't really get to do a whole lot.
Yeah, we talked about him a little bit last season because we were talking about speedy guys. Just hasn't turned much into it. All right, who's your pitcher of the week?
So I'm kind of in the same mold as you. Like I'm sure there were a little bit better pitching performances, but I'm going with Brian Mena. He's with ACL right now. He dropped 5 innings, just 1 run, only 3 Ks, but he's 18 years old. And a lot of those guys right now, the funny thing with that league, the Arizona Complex League, right now, a lot of it is like guys in there are like mid 20s, like 23, 24, that are really doing what they can to like revive their career. Like this is better for them than indie ball. And if they hit really well, maybe they get pushed to low A or something and get another shot. Mm-hmm. So for a guy like Brian Mena, he's 18 years old and he has to face a lot of hitters who are like 22, 23, 24 years old. And a really solid first start. He's someone, again, this is my new way of putting it with these guys. He's on like Yordi Vargas, Victor Juarez watch, where like these guys truly become like solid pitching prospects because you never know what to expect from numbers in the DSL. Like a guy can pitch really, really well there and then just not play well once he comes stateside. But I think he's someone with enough arm talent that like he's going to become a very legitimate pitching prospect for the Rockies and up to a good start this year. And I think he'll get to Fresno at some point when some of these promotions maybe happen. Pitching isn't as much. Pitching is really log jammed at every level. So not a ton of flexibility there, but I think he's someone, he pitched in the ACL last year, could get that push up pretty quickly.
Yeah, 18 years old. Definitely something that, and they did with Vargas and Victor Juarez, so it could be something there. I like that. All right, you get a pick. How are we going to end this? So do you want to talk about quick DSL, Robert Calaz, or do you want to kind of preview the Rockies take at number 9 hitters piece that you have coming out?
I mean, we could do both.
Okay,
barely give any time to the DSL. Robert Calaz, he's out there. He's 17 right now. 5-tool guy. Funny thing, he was signed, and it was like, oh, he's kind of more of a slower type of outfielder, corner guy. It sounds like all indications are he's a really fast center fielder. So he's just really interesting. Not a ton of other hype right now in the DSL, but he's someone right now, like, check the box score on him as much as you can.
Yeah. What is it? 70 grade run times, strong bat to ball skills. And he was, I think, second most Rockies bonus with 1.7 million right behind Dion.
Yeah. So I like with the way the Rockies have developed those higher profile guys, like he's someone to really keep an eye on.
Yeah. All right. And then who are some of the hitters?
These posts are going to be dropping on the blog space. There's so many hitters who, and I see Skylar saying no hitters at 9, please. And I understand that, but at the same time, the Rockies just like have not done a very good job developing hitting talent. And I think part of that's because they've kind of made some questionable picks when they do take hitters. Like, I don't want to hate on our guys, but you look at Mike Tolia. He was a first baseman drafted with an OPS barely over 1,000. Like, all these college hitters that are going to go first round this year, it's like they all have like 1,200 OPS, and they are not first basemen. So there's more value to be had. Benny Montgomery was a fine pick, but like bat was questionable. Mm-hmm. They need to find guys who can be very likely to impact the game offensively at every level of the pros. So I think for that reason, I would definitely endorse a hitter. It depends on who. So that was a long way of saying there's a lot of guys. I would say my favorites, Chase Davis, outfielder from Arizona, really solid bat to ball skills now. He really developed a lot this year. The power is huge. Like it's really big power. He's fast. I don't know if he's gonna play center field, but I mean he's Cargo 2.0 really. Cargo played some center field. I think my other favorite though would be either Braden Taylor from TCU or Tommy Troy out of Stanford. Tommy
Okay.
Troy is a second baseman, really just densely built. He has a ton of power. Like exit velocities are some of the best in college baseball. Power numbers, like you see, like I think he had like 12 to 15 homers this year, like nothing special, but it's really, really solid bat to ball skills with plus raw power. So him at second base, like that's a really interesting profile. Braden Taylor, he kind of had a down year. Last year his bat to ball skills were like insane. He never put anything on the ground. This year he changed his approach a little. He hit over 20 homers, which he did not do last season. I think he's just a really good all-around bat with the athleticism to maybe play some second base also. And then I see Skylar asking about Walker Martin from Eaton. It's an interesting kind of talk there because he's shortstop, Colorado.
Like Eaton, Colorado?
Eaton, Colorado, 3A state champions. He led them there.
My family's in Yuma, Colorado, and they're like the same size of town. Eaton, Colorado has a top prospect.
He's the best Colorado high school prospect since Roy Halladay. Like
No
he is
joke.
getting a ton of first round hype. Not a guarantee to be like drafted and sign. Because he's like 19 and a half, which is really, really weird for a high school prospect and to get drafted. Like it's weird. Also, he's in Eaton playing 3A schools, so the numbers should be taken with a little bit of a grain of salt. But he has hit in some of the national showcase events. He's an athletic kid with good bat speed. I waver. I think the Rockies will give a lot of consideration. Like it's a really highly touted Colorado prospect. Like they're going to give that a long look. But the fact that he's 19 and a half and there's just some other questions around, the competition level and all that, I think it's a little risky at 9. But it's interesting to think about. And I wouldn't be disappointed just because it's a high upside shortstop kind of guy. So it's just interesting kind of prospect.
Huh. No idea. That's kind of cool. Kind of cool. All right. So you're leaning the kid from Stanford. Remind me of his name.
Tommy Troy. So I think I haven't really formed my order of these guys, but I think Tommy Troy you got a lot of really good tools and some things that can be pieced together in pro ball. Okay. Like just hitting more like fly balls, elevating a little bit more. That's something I'm really intrigued with. Like he's going to hit a lot of balls, like well over 100 miles an hour. I think his max EV this year is like 115. And we're really high on Nolan Jones. He's hit 115. And because that's huge pop. Tommy Troy has similar power, but even better bat to ball skills. Not quite the same power swing, but he's someone that really deserves more top 10 hype. Otherwise, I think my second would be Chase Davis out of Arizona. A lot of people are really familiar with him because his swing and everything looks exactly like Carlos Gonzalez, and he wears number 5.
Yeah, so. A lot of people are on that guy. Colorado loves their cargo. Like, if you can tag anybody to a cargo, everybody is completely on board.
I mean, and that's I had a tweet recently that was like, I'm going to bang the drum on Chase Davis or Walker Martin because of those, like, it's like a pathological connection. You have the Colorado kid, or you have the kid who reminds everyone of one of their favorite players of all time. I could totally see that being the driving force on the pick, which either way wouldn't be bad. Again, I don't love the idea of Walker Martin at 9. It's just a little bold. I think he's someone who should go like late first, just for a team that's comfortable with the age factor there. Like he's the age almost of some draft eligible sophomores. Like he would be a draft eligible freshman almost. Like he'd just be short of that, which is probably why he doesn't want to go to college because you'd have to spend at least 2 years there.
Right.
But the age thing with him is just I've never really seen anything like it from a high prospect.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, it's something you have to be concerned about, right? Do you really want to take a 20-year-old high school player?
Yeah, like he might not play a pro game until he's 20, and you drafted him out of high school. So just Something to think about.
It's definitely something to think about. All right, I think that ends our first live. Not terrible. This was kind of fun being able to like post banners, Skylar and Coors Effects hanging out for a little bit.
Yeah, I loved having
That was fun.
the comments coming in. You know, Skylar kept me honest with the visa thing. You reminded that was more visa related than anything. It's cool having the live interaction.
Yeah.
I think this went well. This is fun.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, it's exactly what we do normally. It's just we got some friends hanging out, and so
Yeah.
cross our fingers. I did this right, and the recording's there, and I can put it out on the podcast. But now Skylar has no reason to listen to us on the podcast format. So I don't know. I don't know where to go with this. Hopefully something gets figured out. I don't know. It's fun. I don't know. You and I haven't talked about it, but I'm putting you on the spot. Thursday night, 9:00, more college draft preview.
I think most likely, yeah. Like
I think,
I know we've got some. This is a week with plans.
yeah, we have
but
some sessions coming up.
but I think that should work. So we
right.
definitely did not touch into the draft. I was a good preview of the draft today.
Yeah,
Not
we'll
too much.
see if we can get Nick in on this and talk
Yeah.
draft stuff. That'd be huge.
He's the draft guy.
So all right, let's run it back Thursday, 9:00. Just make that a thing. That'll be our draft pick. See if James can show up and Nick, and just kind of get the whole BSB squad together and go Rocks Minor League affiliates. Woo! Let's see if this works. Thank you for watching and listening. Please check out our link tree for more content.
Nice.